problem with that today? Too many people who are in elective office forget that they're of the people and for the people?
Well, one of the things that I've noticed is that you can become institutionalized and be insulated from the day-to-day concerns. Do you catch the bus? Do you still get your hair cut at the local barbershop? Do you still interact at the grocery store with the people? And if you do those kinds of things, they will remind you where you come from and what you should be standing for, which is them. So I get constantly reminded. I can't stop at the street light without them telling me what they think and how strongly they feel about it.
I sense there's a little bit of fatigue out amongst all of us in the public about the economy and the recession's been going on. Even if the recession is technically over, it's been going on for more than 2 years now. Joblessness has not really turned a corner. And when, at least statistically, and that's what everyone seems to think. So when you look at that, people want government to do something that makes a difference, either in letting government, or rather letting business really kick into gear, or actively doing something on the part of government to do that same thing. When we go to 2010, are we going to see any improvement, or should people have lower expectations about a flat future? Actually,
and I'm fearful to state this on your show publicly, but I do see light at the end of the tunnel. And the tunnel being on 63rd and Lancaster, Lansdowne in my district, there were actually guys working on a stimulus project to replace pavements and do streetscape and things like that. And I, on my way to work, had to stop, pull over, and take in a moment to see some of the actual trickle-down effect of a stimulus to our economy. And I'm thankful to the mayor and the government for actually doing that in my district. A lot of people know that the last indicator to shift is employment. Small businesses have not taken advantage of this recovery at all. We've had Wall Street bailouts, Main Street bailouts, but my street hasn't really gotten there yet. So I'm encouraged that Obama is talking about jobs, jobs, and more jobs. And locally, Congressman Fattah, Congressman Brady, and Mayor Nutter got together down at the Constitution Center to focus on that. So where I sit, every time I asked about a budget issue, every time someone asks for a capital improvement request, I ask, how is that going to translate into a contract opportunity or a job for some people? And at this point, efficiency is important, but labor intensity is an added benefit. So when we start talking about...
So you see signs, though, that that's moving forward and that 10 will at least inch its way up or jump its way up?
I think it will incrementally move to the better.
In the suburbs, there are obviously tons of small businesses. There are some major businesses. Pharmaceutical companies are there. There are concerns about health care, what that's going to do. What's the Montgomery County feeling today?
Well, I agree with Curtis that that there seems to be a light at the end of the tunnel, but my concern is all of the additional talk about government spending, especially out of Washington. I think that in Montgomery County and from the suburbs that that we interact with, I'm seeing improvement in spite of all of the heavy government spending and not because of it. And if they continue to plow huge amounts of money, spending $500,000–600,000 to produce a couple of extra jobs, I think you end up retarding it because there's only so much money to go around. And I read a story that we're about to print a whole bunch of more money, and I'm worried about inflation, and I'm worried that
some of the TARP money that's coming back, there's a proposal to spend that on more stimulus. Perhaps targeted towards small business, but nonetheless do that, or on infrastructure projects.
I think almost at the federal level, stimulus has a bad connotation at this point, and I think what you are going to see it translate into is increased spending in particular categories. A rose by any other name is still an expense that we're going to pay. But I do think that with an emphasis towards Main Street and local recovery, it has a better ability to move the employment figure.
And Democrats are saying similar things to that. Republicans are saying, pretty much you're saying, the government needs to get out of the way and stop spending as much as it's spending. The president went to Capitol Hill this week and said to Republicans, stop scaring people. What do you say to that?
Well, it makes me wonder if we take all of the money that the president and the Congress have earmarked for, quote, stimulus, and I agree, it is now turned into a bad word, and just divided it up among the taxpayers and sent them all a check. You wonder if it would be better for the economy that these people now plow their money back into the economy doing it that way.
But we actually tried that under the Bush administration, and it got us to where we are. I think more targeted approach of putting resources where they can have maximum benefit is what the Obama administration is attempting to do.
Continue all this in a moment. More with Curtis Jones and Bruce Castor on NBC 10 at Issue. Stay tuned.
You're watching NBC 10 at Issue.